Hi, I'm James the Box Office Artist, and welcome back to another tutorial. And this time, staying in the realm of Thor Ragnarok, which is almost around the corner, we are going to draw Thor's brother. That's right, we are going to draw Loki, and we're going to do the same thing we've done with the Hulk and with Thor himself. We're going to split this video up into three. Now, know this is going to be a little bit different than those tutorials, okay? When I actually filmed this particular tutorial, I was actually running short on time, and I didn't have time to actually do commentary, so I was actually rushing to finish this particular drawing. So I thought that I would actually, instead of doing commentary over it, or instead of doing live commentary anyway, that I would just take the video, speed it up, and give my thoughts on that particular video. So that's what I've done here, okay? So these videos are actually substantially shorter than the ones that you saw for the Hulk and for Thor. So I would love to know your thoughts on how these particular videos turn out. But this first video, of course, we are going to start out with the most important part. This is construction. Now, as I'm going to mention in the video itself, I am using a Color Pilot ENO-LED, a red color, but again, you could use whatever color that you would like to use. You could even just use a regular pencil and just do it lightly, okay? That's what I suggest to you. If you're just starting out, I would suggest don't even get anything fancy. Just get yourself a pencil, something to start drawing with. The paper I am using is a Strathmore Smooth Bristol board, 11 by 17. Again, you could use whatever paper you want. The materials honestly doesn't really matter. What's more important to me is that you understand the fundamentals and what I'm trying to do. So let's get into right now. Let's get into the construction of drawing Loki. Okay, so here we go with my Color Pilot ENO-LED red color here, and then for the most part that's always what I use. You guys see me do that all the time here. And again, this footage here, this is sped up, so hopefully you could still follow along, which makes a shorter video, but hopefully a more concise video. So as you can see here, I'm drawing in the head. Now, do a regular circle here, but you also notice I don't do lines straight across. I do lines that go all the way around the head, and I've talked about that before. Thinking in 3D, and that is the most important here. And what you see here right now, I'm placing lines on the face right now here, and what those are, you know, it's like I'm trying to figure out the different planes of the face, the surface of the face. Now, I decided to go in detailed with this particular face here, mainly because it is my first time drawing Tom Hiddleston, so I was trying to get the likeness going as best as I could here. So that's why I wanted to tackle the face right away. Usually I don't go this detailed. I would pretty much rough in the rest of the body first, but I wanted to try it here. So as you can see, after roughing in those shapes, already starting to you know, rough in the face pretty much. You know, there you go with the nose, the upper lip there, and trying to figure out the eyes. I'll even add in a little bit of shadow just so I can see how I'm doing with how I'm trying to get the face. It's pretty much by eye. Like, I didn't measure it or anything. I was just going off the reference that I had, trying to figure out if I could get that face going. And for the most part, it looked not bad at the end of the day, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm just reinforcing the lines that I'm making here, the eyes itself, because honestly, the eyes are the windows of the soul. If you could get the eyes right, most of the time, that's pretty much like 70% there. If you could get the eyes right, well, of course, you know, the face has to be somewhat similar, but it gets you very close there. So as you can see here, very detailed, more detailed than I did my previous tutorials. But you know, I just wanted to make sure that the face I was doing was pretty much correct. And once I was happy with that, then I started roughing in. I believe I'm pretty much I'm going to start roughing in his little helmet that he has here, this little helmet dress here, roughing in the horns that go from the top of his forehead. So I do want you to pay attention, because one thing that's important is that the helmet itself, it was important to rough out where the head was, because I wanted to make sure the helmet goes over top of the head. Sometimes we forget that clothing itself goes on top of a body, meaning that it has to go over a particular surface. So this particular headdress here, this helmet, has to feel like it's on top of another structure, on top of the head here. So that's why it's important always to rough in the head first before actually drawing the headdress in. Don't go and draw this helmet without roughing in where you think the head is, and then build the helmet on top. And as you can see here, I've started roughing in the hair and the neck, and going back in and just refining the details here. Now again, usually I don't go this detailed when it comes to a drawing like this. Usually I would rough out the whole thing first, but I really was into drawing Loki here, so I wanted to make sure that all these little details, I was happy with them. So just reinforcing everything that went inside. So let's back up here. Now I'm going to start in roughing in the particular body the way I usually do if you watch my previous tutorial, starting in with a very rough skeleton. Now for this particular drawing, I didn't go too sketchy with it. I just did enough lines where it would help me understand where everything's going. So I knew I wanted the arm bent. Okay, so that's why right here I'm drawing in the hand with the knives, because in the trailer we see Loki playing with knives a lot. So I wanted his arms to bend, both of the arms to bend. That's why you see here I roughed in the forearm, and I'm just roughing where I think the two arms will go, how the arms would bend. So pretty much I'm just roughing it in. So this is a little bit different than how you usually see me draw. Usually you see me draw all the the torso, the pelvis, and all that first. But this time I went a little opposite way, because in my mind I kind of knew how I wanted this particular character to look here. So, but I did rough in the torso here. I did rough in the pelvis, as you see, but very minimally compared to my other tutorial videos, because I already had in mind what I wanted it to look like. So there you go here. So I'm already starting to rough in the muscles. Now, notice when I'm roughing in the muscles, I'm imagining this whole piece as a block of clay, and I'm kind of adding clay on top to form these muscles. So I'm adding muscles on top of the surface that I already drew. That's what my mindset here. That's how I'm thinking. So adding in the ribs, adding in the chest there, and even this belt I'm adding in here, I know that's going over top of the body. So I'm always thinking, it's that 3D thinking I'm always telling you guys about. You always have to think in 3D if you want your drawings to look correct. Now drawing the hands, I know a lot of you have been asking me tutorials of the hands, but pretty much imagining it, just the fingers, how they would curve. An important thing about this hand is it has to feel like there's something, he's holding on to something, that there's a knife inside this hand. So it will look different than an actual fist itself when it's punching. Like the fingers should come out a little bit, so the knife would be inside there. And then just roughing in the forearm here, just trying to make it look right. Now I'm adding in the shoulder pads. And again, like I mentioned before, clay on top of clay on top of clay. These shoulder pads should feel like they're actually on top of an actual shoulder, okay? They are not the shoulder. And even this particular costume detail here, it should feel like it's going around the surface, okay? Around the surface, and that's really important. That's why the underdrawing is so important here, is because those lines wouldn't feel right if they weren't going over top of the surface, okay? Surface of this body. So you have to really think and understand how the body works. I think one good exercise, one thing my friend David Ross does, he actually sometimes takes his drawing and then draws like a segmented version of it. Like he actually draws like a grid over top of the surface, okay? And that allows him to think in 3D. Maybe I'll do a tutorial one of these days showing you guys how to do that. It's just a way to really think in 3D. But as you saw, I just added in the other arm, and then now I'm just going back in and adding in a few more extra costume details to get this particular character going here, just reinforcing lines before I go straight into the ink here. So as you can tell, there's a lot. I actually went into this a lot with a lot less lines than my previous tutorials, the last two. That's one of the reasons why. Now again, the reason why I am doing it this way as opposed to the other way, like my Hulk and my Thor tutorial, is mainly because when I drew this I was running out of time. I didn't have a lot of time, so I just went in and just did the drawing without doing commentary. So I'm doing this commentary afterwards, but you know, and here I'm adding in costume detail over top. Here I'm adding volume to the chest by drawing lines underneath. Most likely I'm going to darken those a little bit later, and then just adding those little bit of extra details on top. So really roughing it out. Really roughing it out. Now, again, like I said before, this video is sped up. Roughly, not too sped up. I'd say around roughly about almost double. Not exactly double, but double speed. Almost double speed. But pretty much I'm just reinforcing all the lines here. So at this point here, you could feel this structure. And as you can see there, I just added costume details to his arm. And you could already tell just by the curvature of that line, you should be able to feel volume. You should be able to feel volume. And that's one of the things I really try to do with my drawings and with the help of these under drawings, is that you feel that volume, that your character doesn't feel flat. And that's the most important thing. You can't just add those lines randomly, or else it will feel flat. It will at the end of the day. You have to have that understanding about how those lines in particular would work. So there it is. That is my Loki underdrawing. And then from here, we will be going into inks. Here it is. Okay, so this is my constructed version of Loki. As you could tell, video was actually, the amount of time it actually took to draw this was a lot shorter than what the other particular videos, even in real time. So this was just sped up twice. Okay, so it was just double time. Hopefully you were able to follow along. If you weren't, you know, you were able to pause. You know, you had your chance. So there it is. Okay, so on to the second video, which is basic finishing. I'm gonna call it finishing instead of inking because you could do that with an ink pen as well. So go check out the second video to see how I would finish this, and then of course we have our lighting and rendering video. But I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you all learned something, and let me know in the comments down below what you think about this particular video, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the other tutorials that I filmed, or a lot of the other images that I filmed throughout Inktober, I had to do it this way mainly because of time. So a lot of them will have to be this way. So hopefully this is still enough for you guys to learn my processes whenever I'm going through drawing. This is more of a draw along more than anything. So let me know what you think about it, and please don't forget to follow me on all social media, all down below. And if you're new here, you knew my channel, you looked around, you like what you see, you like my tutorials, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, well, I will be your friend for life. Thank you for watching. My name is James. I'm the box office artist. I'm here to say keep drawing, and I'll see you all next time.